Blog Talk Radio. Have you ever wondered why it's happening again? Welcome to MindShifters Radio with your co-host, the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce. To the brightness within you and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to MindShifters Radio with For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. And today is day number, about day 167, I think, something like that, of our Memorial Day celebration. And we are here in sunny Florida. It's absolutely beautiful. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. And welcome to our show. Michael, Tim is already on with us.
Awesome. Welcome, Dr. Tim. How are you?
Doing wonderfully well here in Illinois, thank you. Probably quite a bit colder than where you are, but doing well.
Oh.
We had our first snow flurries this morning.
Snow flurries? Oh, my God, that's terrible.
Well, it's just life.
Hey, I guess the people who are in, I personally think that humans weren't designed to be in snow. But, everybody to their own thing.
Yeah.
I'm just a wise guy.
If God had meant us to live in snow, he would have built us with snowshoes or something like that.
There you go. We'd have been born with snowshoes on. Yep, that's it exactly. And you're right on track, I think. So I'm going to just sit here and see how it all unfolds. Anyway, is David with us this morning? No, David's not with us. David is on the road on his way back to Heartland. So, David, we hold safe travels for you. And let's see, celebration, or actually more the honoring of Memorial Day. It's about inviting everybody here to be part of the elimination of war on planet Earth. How are we going to do that? You and I are going to look at one issue today where we have some form of hostility or fear that we're probably blaming somebody else for. And we're going to stop blaming, and we're going to say, I've been through this particular feeling, this quality of reality, 80 different times with 42 different people. I watched my power person go through this issue. I've heard about my grandparents and their grandparents and their grandparents. Oh, my goodness, same issue. Maybe I'm involved in my life. And if you can go that far in your mind, then what we're going to invite you to do is take your body to your computer and go to www.whyagain.com. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. Click on the link. Read the chapter 24 from the book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? That's the first link. Second link is 7-Step Reality Management Worksheet. Download the worksheet. Start putting the pen to the paper. Listen to us guide somebody through that worksheet process so you'll know exactly how to do it with link 3 and link 4. There are two different examples of taking somebody through a worksheet. So you can listen as you go along and fill in the blanks. Any questions you have, those questions will be answered as you listen to those two links. If we don't answer all those questions, then you pick up the phone and you dial 646-200-4169, and Jeanie and Dr. Tim and myself will be here to support you in understanding those questions and moving through whatever that hostility or fear is until your very capacity to experience that form of hostility or fear is disappeared from your bloodline. That's what we're here to support you in. And when we do that, when we get enough people doing that, we are going to eliminate war from planet Earth. That's our plan. We invite you to join us, and we're glad that you're here. And if you'd like to come forward with a question, a thought, an answer, an idea about this work, our phone number, our call-in number is 646-200-4169. We would be honored and delighted to hear from you and support you in the process of responsibility and inner healing. Dr. Tim, do you have anything to share today right off the bat?
Well, two things. One is I have noticed that I can't get in the chat room, or it's not up and running yet.
Can't get in the chat room.
I just keep hitting refresh, hoping it's going to.
It still says reconnecting, so there's nothing.
We're having the same issue here. It seems like Blog Talk is the last week or two has been having some issues on their end since the big storm up wherever they are. Apparently, I guess they've just been having trouble. So we'll ask everybody to be patient, and that's really not good to not be able to get in the chat room.
Well, the other thought I had was that your goal, our goal stated here as we honor Memorial Day yet again, is to end war on planet Earth, and we can't do it without you. You are the only one that can change the realities of hostility or fear in your mind, and we need your help. So please consider joining the endeavor, signing up to be a member of the team to help change the quality of life on the planet by removing one piece of hostility or fear from your experience each day. And
that's it. And actually, we've got a website that we actually haven't activated yet called The Team That Changed the World. And so that's one that we're working on, just one more of the projects we're bringing forward into the world to bring forward a change on planet Earth, to really, truly do that. And, you know, we talk about ending war, but the truth is what it's about is bringing and restoring human life to planet Earth. And maybe not even restoring. Maybe it's just establishing human life on Earth. Perhaps, if we look historically at how much war there's been, at how many people have been murdered, at how much rage, at how much fear there's been, perhaps human life has not yet been established on planet Earth. And so as you forgive hostility and fear, those things that come from what we call the non-being mind, you will establish human life in your physiology. You will incarnate. If you go to the Eastern Orthodox teachings, and some people are afraid of that word orthodox, but it actually, the whole bottom line of those teachings was the incarnation of a human being. So we're here to support you incarnating. And what does that look like? What does that mean? Well, all you have to do is hold a newborn child, and you know exactly what incarnation means. Hold a newborn, and you know what a human life is. It is the awesome, active presence of love. And as you do that, you become a vote for the end of war on planet Earth. I offer, it's not, they say, well, it's our human frailty. Liar, liar, pants on fire, not true, nothing to do with human frailty. It's unhuman to be in violence and viciousness and war. It's got nothing to do with human frailty. What we need to do is to discover our humanness and bring our humanness into our families, into our communities, into our political system, into our world. There's an interesting piece of information. There's a couple of guys who started a thing they called the Civility Project, and they created a declaration of civility. And they particularly, they invited everybody on the planet to participate in this, but these guys in particular went to the political system. They went forward to 535 members of Congress, and they surveyed 50 governors of 50 states, and they said, gentlemen, ladies, would you be willing to sign a pledge that in all interactions in your political life you will have civility? 2 years these gentlemen worked to try to get 585 so-called, and I put that with a huge question mark, so-called leaders to sign a civility pledge in 2 years. Guess how many so-called leaders they were able to get to sign up? Three who are willing to function as human beings. 3. Is there any wonder our country, our world is in such a disastrous mess as it is in so many ways? Now, fortunately, there are people who are incarnating, are bringing forward something different. But the insanity, 3 out of 585 people said, yes, I'm willing to pledge to function as a human being in the political system. Hello, folks. It's time to incarnate human life. You can make a huge contribution, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about doing your work. Now, you don't have to believe a word of anything that I'm saying or Dr. Tim is saying or Jeanie's saying about any of this. If you just take the tools and put the pen to the paper, you will begin to function as a true human being. Pardon me, I shouldn't say begin. Maybe you're already there. That's awesome. But it will take you to another level if you use the tools. There's nothing to believe here. If you take it and you do it, it works. If you don't do it, then the tendency is to just keep rolling along in the same old game that we non-humans have been functioning out of for a long time. So that's where we're heading. Jeanie, any callers? No? Chat room open yet? Jeanie's trying on her phone at this moment so she can get the chat room open. Tim, have you been able to get it at all?
Nope. So far I'm just refreshing and shows the same thing, waiting for it's like the page that happens between shows when we're waiting for you guys to log in. So,
well, that's a problem. Those folks can't get in. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, hopefully some of them are listening on the air. I mean, on the phone. And I was just going to comment that I had another wonderful testimonial from somebody who attended the group this morning. And it's another call for me to people, wherever you are, to start a group. It doesn't take being a clinical psychologist or a 20-year master with the reality management worksheet. It simply takes the willingness to get together with 2 or more other people and start watching the videos and practicing doing the worksheets and supporting each other to face whatever you hold within you that's less than love. And when that starts to happen, shifts happen that are so dramatic we tend to call them miraculous, but they're only miraculous in the sense that a potential of reality that existed outside our awareness has been brought into our awareness. The potential was always there. And the potential for us to live from that awareness of our source as the energy of love and the energy of creation, it exists in each moment. And we just need to learn that it's there, learn the tools for removing anything unlike love from our system, and then sit back and enjoy the results. And life gets lighter and easier, and what used to be traumatic or anxiety-producing situations seem like a breeze for people to handle. And that was one of the comments this morning, was that difficult situations that used to just absolutely throw this person into panic are now just a deep breath and an easy thought away from resolution.
Well, you know, Tim, just if you don't mind if I interrupt there, but you bring, when you say that, it brings to mind the reason why forgiveness has disappeared from planet Earth. It brings to mind the reason why what's promoted in our world is hostility and fear, because hostility and fear and rage and grief and pain makes us stupid. And when we're stupid, we're great slaves. We're confused. We don't know how to function. So, follow the leader. Whoever is carrying the biggest stick, most people will follow their command because they don't have the intelligence without their human lives to live in a true independent state, or I should say interdependent state with others They'll simply go with the codependence and follow whatever the latest, insane trend is. So it really points up, because what shows up when people really do their work is more intelligence, more capability, more flexibility, wider vision, just all sorts of awesome things show up that human beings are designed to live in. And unfortunately, when you look at 585 politicos who wouldn't sign, 582 out of 585 who wouldn't sign a civility pledge, those 582 want you stupid. They want you to be controllable. They want you to follow the so-called leader. It's time for us to stop it. It's time for us to change it. But we've got to undo the stupid stuff in our minds. What's the stupid stuff? What is it that makes us so controllable? It's any form of hostility or fear. What is it makes us think that it's a reasonable thing to go to war and kill somebody? It is the stupid stuff of hostility and fear in us that allows us to justify that. So I applaud this person for reclaiming their intelligence and their capability. And everyone, please, in any arena of your life, more intelligence and more capability is yours inside of one worksheet. The second worksheet around that issue will give you more capability and more intelligence in that arena, and the third one and the fourth one and the 10th one and the 100th one will undo 1,000 generations of hostility and fear that keeps us out of our true humanness. So we invite you to please pick up the pen and the paper and do that. And Jeanie tells me that she has a couple of callers. So, Tim, before we actually take our next caller, do you have another thought? I did cut in there in the middle of that, but you inspired me. Do you have another thought, Tim, before we bring a caller in?
Yep, I have my mute button on. Sorry.
Okay.
The other thought I had was that this is a person who's just been through a very holistic-based treatment for cancer and has stayed very healthy through it. And she was also mentioning the fact that the Brzezinski movie .com website has made another release about what we can do to help, because they're going to go after Dr. Brzezinski again in 2012. And so there's a modified video clip on that website, 21 minutes, that outlines the issue and the two new charges they're going to try and bring against him in 2012. So if anybody's interested in learning about how to spread the word and get the grassroots movement going to stop them from prosecuting and persecuting this man, who's really at the forefront of cancer research, BrzezinskiMovie.com.
Yeah, it really is persecution. It's not prosecution. How many times did they have to go to a grand jury and the grand jury laughs them out of the place before they go, this isn't prosecution, this is persecution. And it's about bucks. If you haven't watched the movie, BrzezinskiMovie.com, the film is available to see, I believe. I'm trying to think of what website it's on. There is a website where you can watch it online, or if you want to support Brzezinski, you can go to Brzezinski.com. You can buy the movie. It's $20. Well, or buy 100 of them. The price drops. Buy 100 of them and spread them around. It's time for this atrocity called, I don't even know what to say. Anyway,
greed. It's greed. It's greed.
I'm breathing.
Well, yeah, I'm saying what it is it's greed in politics, and it's time for that to step aside and let the sanity of love and our ability to choose our own course of treatment for serious diseases to take the forefront.
Yes. Yeah, actually it would probably be really interesting, Dr. Tim, to get a whole panel of really well-respected psychologists and psychiatrists together to do diagnosis, to do psychological profiles and diagnosis on the people who are doing this, because I think we'd find them that they are in such a state of sociopathic insanity to keep doing this that they would be candidates to be put behind bars, and they're running the game. It's just bizarre. But anyway, let's pull our caller in. Jeanie? Area code 954. You are on the air. Give us a name. And I know you're calling from Fort Lauderdale area. Hello, 954. 954, you're on the air. While we're waiting for you to say hello, we are going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Actually, we'll be in Pompano, just north of Lauderdale, the first week in December, doing a full week of workshops, Sunday through Friday, the first week in December, and then we're going to be back in Lauderdale. That's going to be at Unity at Pompano, and then the first week in January, I believe starting on the 7th of January, will be the 8th, of January. We'll be at CSL in Fort Lauderdale doing a full week there. It'll be another full week of workshops. Let's see, I think the December 5th and 6th, we're going to be in Boca at the Heart Painter Studio. 2nd and 3rd, what can I say? So December 2nd and 3rd, we're at the Heart Painter Studio in Boca doing 2 evenings of free workshops. And then we'll be we'll be in Boca Raton for a week, the first week in February, again, doing a full series. And the second week and then in Tampa, we'll be in Tampa at Harmony Center the second week in January. So there's lots happening in Florida. Then the next week, we're going to be in Ocala doing a week there. So there's lots happening in Florida. And if you're ready to go to the next level, even if you don't live here, take a week off. Come on and play. So we lost our caller? Okay. And did we have callers or just? Okay. Well, if you lost your connection, we would be delighted if you would call us back 954 and say hello and put forward your thought or your question. Jeanie, you did some work with somebody in England yesterday, and there were some particular questions that came up for clarification on the worksheet, which I think would be really powerful if you'd be up for sharing that. And I know we got a call from Edward. I got a message this morning from Edward in Las Vegas. If you happen to be on, Edward, we'd love to hear from you. But Edward called in a couple of shows back. He missed your voice, and he wanted to make sure you were okay, so he called me specifically to ask that you were okay. So let's have him hear your voice so that we know that he knows you're well.
I can't read it. Okay, this makes for a little bit of difficulty. My computer's on one side of the room, and the phone works better on the other side of the room. But, I worked with a gentleman from England yesterday, and some of the things that he was talking about was just, what do you mean by holding the space of love? And how does that work? And what do you mean when you say to surrender your feelings to love? So a couple of the things that I used to explain that to him, I said, holding the space of love, I said, think of the newborn. The baby is just love. It's what it is. It doesn't do love. And this gentleman, he described love. When I first asked him to describe the newborn, he said that, he could describe it as love, but that was an intellectual word, and that to actually feel it, he guessed he would say, wow. And so I was telling him, okay, so you just stop and you just be love. You just be wow. And sit there and hold the space. And then I tried to take it a little bit further and just to give an explanation. I said, I remember a time when I was talking to my son. He was very, very young. We were sitting in his room, and he was afraid, and he was explaining some of his fear to me. And to me, what he was afraid of at that time, it was really silly in my adult eyes. But instead of sitting there and, I could have, told him, that's ridiculous what you're thinking and stop being afraid. And, he might have, pretended or acted like, well, he was okay just to please my demand, but he would still be holding to that fear because it hadn't gone away. But instead, I just sat and just, held the space, just stayed in the space of love for him, allowed him to speak his reality and held him close and just offered reassurance. And because the love was surrounding him, his fear dissipated. And so that's forgiveness, Michael just said. But that's holding the space of love for someone. And so I told this gentleman, I said, even though we're an ocean apart, I said, I just hold the space. I let go of my need for you to get it, for you to understand all of it as we're processing. And so I just stay connected and hold the love in me, directing it towards you as you're processing, and allow your process to unfold in time as it does. And as far as the point of what do you mean by surrendering to love, Michael talks a lot about how we surrender to something. We either surrender to love or we surrender to hostility or fear to do any behavior. And so it's a process of choosing. I'm going to choose to surrender to love. I'm going to the higher choice. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people that prefer to hang on to their hostility and fear. It's their identity, which brings up another person that I've been working with, and I asked them to please call in. And so if you're in the Florida area and you're listening and you know that you're the one that I'm talking about, I wish you would call in. I've processed with her for 2 or 3 days. She actually called in a few days ago, and she came back with, okay, so Michael's told me that the worksheet is going to help me change them. And I'm like, no, it's going to change yourself. It's, okay, so my directive is to take care of their revenge. And I'm like, no, it's not to take care of them at all. And so it was like everything that he had told her on the radio show, she turned around to something else. And then in my email explaining to her, and I'm like, it may not, doing the forgiveness work may not change what's going on actually in the world. The same circumstance may happen, but what will change will be internally how you're reacting to it. It's like you're an observer instead of being emotionally attached to that outcome. And so she came back, and it was like, okay, so you're telling me, and I agree with you, it's not going to change my situation. And I'm like, that's not what I told you. And so it's like I've worked with her for 2 or 3 days, and everything she hears is something totally different than what's being said. And so then, I finally came back, and it was like, I've been doing 5 or 6 long emails. I mean, like hours to type them. And I can't continue to do this. If you want to do a private session, we'll do that. Otherwise, please call into the show. And she came back and said, well, I didn't know that the show was, dependent on me doing a session with you. And it's like, that is not what I said. Yes, I charge a fee for what I do, but the show is free. Please, callers, call in. We love your questions. There's 2 different things. They're not connected with each other. And so I was trying to offer free support. Please call in. We will direct your questions. If there's something you don't understand, clarify it, because if you don't understand it, there's probably somebody else out there that doesn't understand it either. And so we would like to help you. We would like to assist you. We want to help you work through the worksheet. Please call in. And she wrote back again last night, and it's like, well, I can't call in. I've got to do something else, and it looks like you're not going to help me anyway. And so it's like, this is like 4 or 5 times. And so, Michael, what do you have to say to that? What is going on that nothing that you or I either one say to her does she hear? And to me, it's that she wants to hang on to her hostility and fear. She doesn't choose to surrender to love. So I don't know. Can you add to that?
Sure. That's a great question, because the truth is, of course, she didn't hear you. And she will never hear you. And I don't hear you. And we don't hear each other. What, Michael, what are you saying? That's crazy. Well, in the same way that we're speaking about reality being the output of the mind, and that when we look through our body's eyes, we're looking at an unknown energy system, and out of the contents of our minds, we're making up a reality about it. In exactly the same way, all of our listening comes from brain cells. You can't listen through brain cells you don't have. And so if one is living in a world where all of the realities that they hold have to do with victimhood. I'm a victim of my father. I'm a victim of my mother. I was a victim of my first boyfriend. I was a victim of my third girlfriend. I was a victim of my spouse. I was a victim of my children. I was a victim of my parents. I was a victim of I was even a victim of myself. I look in the mirror and I puke on myself and I attack myself and I'm a victim. Don't you get it? Okay, I got it. You're a victim. So now, all you're going to be able to hear is no matter how much support comes, your mind is going to make it look like victimhood. That's why you need to learn to forgive. Because when you start forgiving, you'll remove literally the impact and the control that these brain cells for victimhood have over you. And as you do that, you'll be able to start to hear, there's a way for me to get support. Gee, here I am. I'm down. I'm out. I've got no money. And, the interpretation, as Jeanie said, she's been writing, spending hours writing emails and being on the road the way we are. It's kind of hard to keep up with 1,000 different plates spinning, 1,000 different things that we do to take this to the globe. So Jeanie said to this young lady, and if you're listening, please, we'd love to hear from you, said, if you want to do some private work, okay, let's do it. But I can't keep spending hours and hours and hours writing emails to you, teaching you the whole body of the work privately. It's just not practical. So the invitation was, please come to the show, listen, call in, and actually, because it seems like this person's in pretty dire straits financially, we said, send us a phone number. If you don't have cell minutes but you have a home phone, send us your phone number. We'll call you. We want to support you. We'll do it free. We'll take the phone call cost in. We want to support you. But if the brain cells are only about victimhood, then her interpretation of that was, oh, you mean that this radio show and all this is just a way to get us into, to kind of like a lost leader to get us into, doing private work. No, there's no requirement whatsoever, and we are happy 5 days a week, an hour a day, to support any and everybody who calls in. And we're not interested in your money. That's why all our travel work, or 99% of our travel workshops, are done free, because what we're interested in is putting the tools into your hands. Yes, if you're in a position to support us doing that, we're not independently wealthy. We're not doing this because we have huge bank accounts behind us. We're doing it because we're committed to giving the tools away. So if you're in a position, through this radio show you've benefited, or through the work, yes, please jump on www.whyagain.com. Right-hand side, there's a link that says donate. Donate something. Support us. Get on the website, order books, order DVDs, order CDs. Start giving them material away. Do the same thing. Pass it on. And so there are workshops happening. Actually, Chicago starts tonight in Naperville. Tonight, a young lady from Miami who did teacher training, Dayu, is going to be there in Naperville, Illinois, doing a free workshop tonight. And then tomorrow and Saturday, she's got some paid workshops that she's doing. And we'll be in St. Pete next week and all over Florida. And Jeanie says we have a caller on the line. So area code 517. That sounds like Lansing, Michigan. Maybe it's Rex.
It sure is.
Hey, how do you be, good sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I tuned in a little bit late on your program, and I had a quick question on the spelling of the, I couldn't understand it fully, Brzezinski.com. How do you spell that?
Brzezinski. Yeah, there's a link. If you just go to Why Again, the spelling is a very unusual name. So If you just go to our website, there's a link to it that Jeannie's put there under links.
Well, I'll do that.
You can watch the movie free, and you can go to his website, and there's a new update, a new 21-minute update. After, I believe it's 5 grand juries throwing the FDA out, and then they trumped up charges where, interestingly enough, they stole this guy's medical records, and in order to keep taking care of his patients, he had to go to their offices and make copies of his records in order not to screw up with his patients. At your expense, Mr. and Mrs. Taxpayer, the FDA sent people all over the country to Dr. Brzezinski's patients to survey them and see if they could come up with a complaint. They couldn't find one person to complain about him. So when they finally got Texas to lay some charges on him, they specifically said in their indictment that they weren't going to address whether or not his treatment worked, because it works. He's curing totally in non-toxic ways, many, not all, many different cancers, and especially children with brain tumors who've already been given up as dead because they've had so much chemo and so much radiation. Totally non-toxic. In a month, their tumors are going away. Get on the website. Give it a listen. Put it with your friends.
Well, excellent. That's what I called for, Michael, and I'm going to tune out to let someone else come on. But thank you again for doing what you're doing. And Dr. Tim did a great job while you were gone.
I've heard that from everybody. And, Rex, before you leave, do you have any classes up in Lansing area?
Yes. Let me hold on briefly. I'll open my calendar. And actually, I'm glad you asked. I have quite a few that I've scheduled. December 10th, I am doing a Healing Through Relationships workshop.
Now, do we have flyers on all of these so we've got it on the website?
I'm going to send them to you. I just finished the flyer yesterday. I had to redo a whole program with it. But, I
Cool.
finally got that done, and I've got that flyer done, and I'm going to get those out in the next couple of days so you have Jeanie watch for that. And then I've got workshops also scheduled in January and February and into March. So
awesome. Well, keep us posted, Rex, and within a few days before those workshops happen, make sure to jump on the radio and remind us so that we can remind everybody. And thanks for what you're doing in Lansing, Michigan. Together we are making a change on planet Earth.
Yes, we are. God bless everybody.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Rex.
Thanks. I'll listen in. You bet, Tim. Bye.
Dr. Tim, do you have any thoughts to share with us?
Well, I did want to just thank Rex for calling in. It was very nice, really good clarifying questions, and it was nice to hear the support last week when I was on the show. And the comment that comes up for me is when you start talking about things like the Brzezinski movie and what the government and Big Pharma are doing, for most people it stirs up a lot of negative emotions, and that's a perfect time to pull out a worksheet and dismantle that negative emotion from within your system. Please, if you're going to go listen to the video, the 21 minutes on the website, or if you're going to order the video, please be equipped with tools to handle the anger, the fear, the frustration, the resentment, or the guilt or the shame that gets stirred up in you as you watch, because that's what we're here about. We're not here to get people all whipped up into a frenzy. We're here to get people to take positive action to improve the quality of their life. And part of that might be after they've dismantled anger or fear or hurt that gets stirred up when they watch the Brzezinski movie. Part of that might be to write a letter to their senator or congressman, to start an email campaign to let everyone they know become aware of this link and this video and this website. But please, the first thing to do is, if any form of hostility or fear gets stirred up in you when you hear what the government is doing to try and stop this man who is trying to heal patients with cancer, get rid of that anger or fear or frustration before you do anything else.
Yeah, a lot of activist work is done and actually produces exactly the opposite result of what one is speaking of doing. If you go back to Yeshua 2,000 years ago, the physicist, the psychologist, the physiologist named Yeshua 2,000 years ago, he said that we're like a house divided against ourselves. And what exactly does that mean? That means that if I'm in hostility or fear about something and I go out and I fight against it, then I'm a supporter of whatever it is I'm fighting against. So energetically, by focusing on something, you add more energy to it. When you focus on something out of hostility or fear, you add an energy that strengthens that hostility or fear issue. If you focus on something out of your awesome capacity as love, what happens is that focus starts to dissolve the energy that keeps that issue going. And so that's what we're here to help to clarify for everybody and to bring forward into the world. Jeanie, you've got a caller. Well, Nene, welcome, young lady.
Hi, my heart family.
We are very, very well, thank you. You should be getting some mail for us. You should be getting some mail for us about now if you just hold it till we get down there.
Yes. Yeah, I did. I got an email with 3 different invitations, 3 different dates. Yes.
Cool, but there should be some physical mail coming to your house for us too.
Oh, I apologize. Okay, I got it. Yes, well, this is your home.
So, do you have a thought for us or a question for us, Nene?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have a couple of things to share. First of all, the Brzezinski movie. You can watch it if you have Netflix. They just released it on Netflix.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's fabulous to hear that Netflix has it now. That's fabulous. Cool.
Yeah. So that's one. And the other,
that's good news. I know that people were working to get Netflix to carry it, so that's awesome.
Yes, and you can subscribe. You can watch. You just watch it in your PC, or you can order the actual DVD.
Right.
They just released it like a week ago.
Cool. Thanks for letting me know.
Yep. And also, I wanted to share about the work because this weekend that I had that big issue being triggered about my energies, and till yesterday I was a little bit anxious about it, and I said, okay, what is it that is bothering me? And I was bothered because I was caught, and I know I reacted, and but it was huge. Okay, and I did 5 more worksheets about wanting to be heard at home, wanting to be, being heard by my family. I had mostly male brothers. There are more brothers than sisters, and certain other frustrations about my immigration, all that. Okay, everything came out. But still there was a little point there, and okay, so I said, what is it? And I said, I'm going to write my responsible communication. And I wrote my responsible communication letter to this gentleman, and it's so powerful because in that part where you identify subjectively, your own issues and your energies, then you start realizing, and it's like you're talking to yourself, actually. And I said, the betrayal and the lack of loyalty and all that has been big in my existence, in my experience of life. And after I wrote that letter, I did feel then the serenity that I was looking for. And then I also realized that, as you said before, Michael, in one of the workshops, that love, you cannot really love anybody. You have to be the love for you and for the other person.
Well, yeah, and, it's really about claiming our human lives, and once we claim our human lives, we are that space of love for absolutely everything in our world. And the power of that, the beauty of that is that when the active presence of love arrives, that which is not true, that which is not based in the way life is designed to be, automatically begins to dissolve and disappear. So that's definitely the power of it. It doesn't matter whether it's for your best friend or your worst enemy. Yep. You start to become a space of support. So that's what we're here to do.
Yes. So after I wrote the letter, and then, of course, when you are doing the letter and you embrace and you're responsible to identify your disintegrative energies and you're being responsible, it gives you so much power, it gives you compassion, it gives you the understanding. There's a shift. I love that responsible communication. There is an immediate shift in your body, in your physiology, in your mind, and also I believe since we are all one energetically, also it's being compassionate with the other person because it's true. It takes two, to be engaged. I was caught in my carbon-based memory. So was he.
You're right on track. We're glad that you're out there teaching this work, young lady. Do you have any classes scheduled?
I emailed Jeanie. It's Sunday, November the 20th.
Great.
In Dania
So we'll
Beach
get that on the website
Grace,
if it's not up
yes,
to it.
Grace Cafe and Galleries.
Where is it?
Grace Cafe and Galleries.
In
Dania Beach.
Dania Beach. Fabulous. Fabulous. All right.
Yes. I meant to write it down in the chat room, but for some reason I opened the PC and the chat room didn't appear for some reason. Anyway.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the chat room. Maybe you want to resend that. Jeanie said she just checked and she doesn't have anything from yet. So maybe you want to just hit resend on that, and we'll get it on the website, and that's fabulous. You were going to set something up in Hollywood too. Is that still happening or moving in that direction?
No, the people didn't follow up. On their invitations to continue doing the mind shift, whatever, the worksheets. But in any case, I'll resend the invitation to everybody that attended my first workshop. So
cool.
we continue creating the brain cells.
Okay, well, I'll follow up with the folks in Hollywood and see if we can get some energy moving there too, so that things move forward there. So fabulous. Very cool. Yes. Well, anything else to share, Nene?
But I'm very grateful, Michael, about this work, and I'm very proud to be part of the team also, to change the world.
Well, we're proud to have you as part of our team. Thank you, Nene.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, Dr. Tim, do you have any sign of the chat room up yet? I guess Blog Talk must just be down.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, it's not functioning other than the holding page.
Okay. Well, then, I guess we'll just have to live without the chat room right now. We apologize to those people who usually listen in the chat room. That's Europe and Asia and those sorts of things. So, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to listen in today. And we'll have to. Oh, okay. Oh, so they are able to listen at least. Good. Okay, well, we apologize you can't chat with us, but you could send Jeanie an email if you have a question or a thought, and her email is JEANIE@WHYagain.com. So if you're listening but you can't get in the chat room, you could send Jeanie an email and she'll be checking it, JEANIE@WHYagain.com. Tim, you had something?
Well, I was just asking, is Jeanie saying that we are going out over the Internet?
Yes, we are going out over the Internet. At least that's what I understand.
Okay, so I'm not getting it on mine. So.
Oh, he says he's not getting it over the Internet either. Okay, so maybe that's down too. I don't know. We'll have to follow up with Blog Talk today. So, but Jeanie says we have a caller, so let's listen into our caller's voice. Area code 502. Where are you calling from? Give us a name.
Barbara Nelson.
Well, hello, Barbara. How are things in Indiana? Or, pardon me, Kentucky?
Pretty good. I wanted help with doing a worksheet.
Okay. Is there a specific question that you have, Barbara?
Yes. I felt hurt after I received. Can you hear me?
Better. Yeah, you need to stay close to the phone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, as long as you're close to the phone, but when you pull away, there's a big echo and I can't understand you.
Okay. I felt hurt after I received some emails from your wife. And so
say it again, Barbara.
Okay.
Barbara.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Just say it again. You said I felt something?
Okay, I felt hurt after I received some emails from your wife, Jeanie, so I sit down to work on her worksheet, And I put down, my feelings and my thoughts and my desire to heal. And I said the prayer, please help me shift back into love. And nothing happened. And so I would just like for you to oh, I have company, for heaven's sake. Just 1 second.
I'll tell you what, Barbara.
Can we talk about it tomorrow?
We're down to about 10 minutes, Barbara. Why don't you call in right at the front of the show tomorrow, and then we'll have time to go into depth. That's a great piece of work to do. All right,
call tomorrow? Okay,
please,
we'll call tomorrow.
Right at the beginning of the show, so we'll have time, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Look forward to hearing from you, Barbara. Barbara is a young lady from Louisville, Kentucky that connected with the work recently, and she's actually talking about coming to Heartland for a year or two to do a work support program. We do have work exchange and work support programs at Heartland. Our intensives are fee-based. Actually, the first couple of years that we did intensives, I tried doing it the same way as we do our travel work, where we offered it free and then invited people to support us with a donation. And Heartland would not have survived if we'd kept doing that. So we do have a fee-based structure there. But for people who don't have the money, just know that you're still welcome to come to Heartland, and we'll be happy to work out some sort of a work support program. Or if you want to do an intensive, we'll work out a payment program. There are all kinds of ways that the work is always made accessible in every way that we possibly can. So, Dr. Tim, do you have any thoughts for anybody?
Well, just to start small, I think part of the thing we were talking about yesterday, somebody had called in and they didn't call in, they were in the chat room, and they were talking about a real powerful issue with their sister, and they'd never been exposed to the worksheet process before. And I just want to remind people that it's a very powerful tool, but it's like a lot of other powerful tools. If you go at it without ever having used it before and you're going to try and solve one of the most complicated problems you've got, it may not be as successful as it could be. If you start with some small issues, you demonstrate to yourself that the tool can be effective, you demonstrate to yourself bit by bit and then build your skill with using the tool, then you can see dramatic changes occurring. And often from the first worksheet or two. We've even, I'll bring it up because it just popped into my head, not this past Tuesday, but a week ago Tuesday, we had somebody come into the support group and asked for help in doing a worksheet on the fact that the worksheet process doesn't work. And his experience had been that every time he went to do a worksheet process, it stayed at a superficial level. And he was hurt and angry, or sad and angry, that the worksheet process wasn't working as advertised. And yes, even that can be a useful target for a worksheet process. And before it was done, he was thanking the people in the group for supporting him and helping him look at something that was clearly blocking him from making progress with this tool. So start small, start with anything at any level that's not going to get your emotions so keyed up that you block your logic. Try to stay calm, keep your breath going, and apply the tool piece by piece. You'll start to see results that you had not imagined were possible. And we see it every week in the group, and we'd like to support more and more people to do that each week, each day, right here on the radio show.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. And our calling number, we do have a few minutes left, is 646-200-4169. Oh, David, welcome, sir. How are your travels going?
Oh, it's going very well, Michael. Thank you. Actually, I'm sitting here with my friend Bill, and planning to get on the show today, all eager. We've been sitting here talking and waiting for the show to come on. When I said, well, let me see if my speaker works well enough before we got on the landline. And lo and behold, you guys are having a show. I was unconscious. My alarm was set for the other time. I just came from Louisville, and it's an hour difference here. So, yeah. So
we're glad you made it. Hello, Bill.
Hello. How are you today?
I am blessed and highly favored. How about you, young man?
I'm getting into that blessed state. I'm moving from a minor blessing to a major blessing.
Fabulous.
I'm sorry that we missed your show today. We were anticipating it.
Well, we apologize you missed it, but there'll be tomorrow. We're going to be here for eternity doing this, so you're welcome to tap in any and every time that you can, and we would love to have your input. We know you're working with people there in Nashville and moving the work forward. And do you have anything in particular to share with us, Bill?
I'll see you for tomorrow. We're going to tap into you again tomorrow.
Awesome. Well, for those who haven't met Bill Greenfield is someone who's been to Heartland and who's working with people in the Nashville area. Do you have an actual support group going at this point, Bill?
It's not active, but hopefully when David leaves here, he'll leave the foundation for it well established.
Awesome. Well, we certainly hold a space for that. That would be fabulous. So, David, do you have anything to share with us today?
Well, briefly, it's great to be here and to be connected with Bill. Actually, we've been discussing Lesson 135 of the Course in Miracles and about making plans, about the unconscious mind, the dissociated mind. And, we've had a good meeting here for the last hour and a half, and I'm just looking so forward to opening it up. And I think that the real thing for me is staying connected with the group and the support and all of you guys doing the show. I have arrived here in Nashville, and I'll be here for a couple of days. And nice to hear Bill saying, we'll possibly have an established MindShifters group here, and looking forward to making that happen. And going to do some breath work here. And we talked about that the real key to this work, as with any work, it's irrelevant. I need to be using the tools every day, to do it consistently every day. And one of the things that I'm grateful for about my relationship with Bill is that we've been doing this every day. I kind of laughed at him yesterday when he said something about doing the worksheet. I said, well, Bill, you've only done 1,000 or so of these on this. Come on. And, we just do it every day. Huh?
We're down to about 30 seconds.
Okay, we'll go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll talk tomorrow then.
Awesome. All right, and we'll maybe talk to you a little later today too on the just directly. So, folks, please go to www.whyagain.com. On the right-hand side, download worksheets, and also look at our travel schedule. We're going to be all over the east and west coast of Florida, and presenting the tools. And if you have a venue in Florida you'd like us to present at, we'd love to hear from you. We hold a space that you are getting ready to have the best year yet of your eternal life. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to MindShifters Radio with the For-giveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.